Hey, this is Andrew. I'm bringing you another Keyforge deck reveal. This is a slash review. This is a Grapevine Alair, Cliff Delegate, and this one got third in this little family sealed tournament we did with 4 people. It's logo Sanctum Dese, and yeah, it does pretty well. It has some interesting stuff. Let me pull it up my notes here. And yeah, I'll walk you through it. So we'll start out with the Dese. We have a Dust Imp. That's a nice sign for Amber generation. It's a 2-power imp. When destroyed, it gains 2 Amber. That's pretty solid. We have a Not Finished With You. So this gives us a bonus Amber and shuffles any number of creatures from your discard pile into your deck. So very nice there. We'll kind of take notes as we go along of creatures that are good targets for this. There are actually a bunch in this deck, which is nice. Dust Imp is one of them. If you had a Dust Imp destroyed, getting it back out is very not bad. Streak is a 2-power imp with elusive, and when it's not on a flank, your opponent refills their hand to 1 less card during their draw card step. Okay? Unlocked Gateway. It has Omega, and when you play it, you destroy each creature. Wipe the board. There's 2 of those in here. Yeah, you can do 2 board wipes. Yerk. When you play it, it's a 4-power demon, and when you play it, you choose and discard a card from your hand. There's 2 of those in here. This is one that I think people undervalue getting to cycle through with this. Getting rid of the worst card in your hand so that you can draw something better is a pretty powerful feature. So I am happy to see that in here. And to the extent that I would even say it's a good target for Not Finished With You. I would cycle this around just to be able to get those creatures back on the board with the deck filtering too. Gongoozle gives you bonus Amber. It deals 3 damage to a creature. If that creature is not destroyed, its owner discards a random card from their hand. Hysteria. When you play it, you return each creature to its owner's hand. And of course, this is good to use on the Yerks. It doesn't help you with the Dust Imps, but it lets you use the Yerks again. That's pretty cool. Pandemonium gives you a bonus Amber, and each undamaged creature captures 1 from its opponent. So this is an interesting situation here. If you played a Pandemonium, you might decide not to play Hysteria, unless your opponent has a lot of your Amber captured, in which case the Hysteria might make sense. But if you can get into a situation where you have creatures on the board, and you do a Hysteria, and then Pandemonium, well then you capture a bunch of their Amber, and they don't get to capture any of yours, and that's a pretty good deal. So ideally that's the order you do those in. Scullion is a 7-power demon with 2 armor. This is a little bit anti-synergistic with the Hysteria, because when you play it you have to sacrifice a friendly creature. Ideally you have the Dust Imp, and you can sacrifice that and get good value. And we have Hecatombs, which is an action that gives you a bonus Amber, and then it destroys each Dese creature, and each player gains an Amber for each creature they controlled that was destroyed this way. That with the Dust Imp is 4 Amber, and you know, with the others, there's nothing in here that we care too much about protecting. The Scullion's nice, the Streak's nice, but they're not like super critical, and getting Amber is really nice, so that's a great card. Alright, let's talk about logos. So we have 2 Archimedes in here actually, or just one in this one, sorry I lied. We have 1 Archimedes in here. So Archimedes is a 2-power cyborg beast with elusive. Each of its neighbors gains the ability destroy to archive this creature. So this is good for, you know, you put like the Yerks next to this or something else with a good playability, and when it's destroyed, it goes to your archives, and you can bring it out again later. Get that effect again. Now, you probably don't want to put the Dust Imp next to this unless you have a way to destroy it on the turn, because if your opponent destroys the Dust Imp on their turn, they can choose to trigger the Archimedes effect before the native Dust Imp effect and have you not get the 2 Amber, which would be a bummer. Okay, Igor is a 2-power cyborg. When you play it, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and discard the others. Amazing deck filtering. Amazing. Really good. Very good to Hysteria this, very good to archive this. And think about this, combined with the Yerks, that's actually 4 discard that we've seen so far. Hex Beyond is a 2-power AI. When it's destroyed, you archive Hex Beyond and the top card of your deck. Library of Babel, it's an artifact, it's a location, you can exhaust it to draw a card. Pip Pip is a 2-power human scientist. After an enemy creature reaps, you stun it. Letting the dog in there. Standardized Testing is an action. When you play it, you destroy each creature with the lowest power and each creature with the highest power. Typically, your lowest power is going to be these 2-power thingies here. This is an example where, if you do put the Dust Imp next to the Archimedes and then Standardized Testing, that's great, right? Because you can trigger the gain 2 amber before you trigger the put it in your archives, and that's not a bad deal. Titan Librarian is a 4-power cyborg scientist, and at the end of your turn, if Titan Librarian is not on a flank, you archive a card. Very nice. This is great. It's important to remember you draw up to 6 first, and after you draw up to 6, then you would archive. We have 2 copies of Zyx Researcher here. This is a very strong card. It's a 2-power human scientist. When you play it, you archive the top card of your deck or the top card of your discard pile. You choose. Obviously, you don't know what's on the top of your deck, so you just have to choose based on what it could be and what you know is the top card of your discard pile. Then we have Eureka. It's an action with a bonus amber. It has alpha, so it has to be the first thing you do. And when you play it, you gain 2 more amber. That's 3 total. And then you archive 2 random cards from your hand. That is, it's a bummer that it's random, but getting to archive 2 cards is great. This is an amazing first turn play if you are going first. Getting to generate 3 amber and archive 2 cards out of your hand. Now you're at 4 cards, you draw back up to 6. That's really good. Fila the Researcher is a 1-power human scientist with elusive, and after a creature is played adjacent to Fila, you draw a card. Very nice. Also not a bad thing to get out early, because then you can get 2 draws out of her, which is great. Entropic Swirl is an action. When you play it, you choose a creature. For each trait that creature has, you deal it 2 damage and gain an amber. There are a lot of creatures that just get straight out destroyed with this thing, so that's nice to get to. If you can destroy an enemy creature and get 2 amber, that is fantastic. Sometimes you might even be able to do that and then immediately archive it with Zyx Researcher so that you'll get it again the next time you want it. Very cool. Okay, let's look at Sanctum. Abond is a Abond the Armorsmith is a 3-power human, and he says other friendly creatures get +1 power, and he can exhaust to give them an extra +1 armor. +1 armor. Did I say power? +1 armor. And he can exhaust to give them an additional +1 armor for the turn. Albade is a 4-power Spirit Knight with 1 armor. When you play him out of your hand, you capture 3 amber onto him, and when he reaps, you discard 1 of those, which means it goes back to the pool, which is a pretty good deal. Marik the Mark is a 5-power Spirit Knight with 1 armor, and after Marik the Mark prevents damage with its armor, you capture 1 for each damage just prevented. Protect the Weak is an upgrade with a bonus amber. It gives a creature +1 armor and taunt. Very nice to put on Marik the Marked for multiple reasons. Number 1, because it means that people will have to fight into Marik. He's pretty big, and every time they fight him, they're having to probably put armor on him. Of course, they are eventually going to finish him off, but also putting the extra armor means that you can get more capture out of him. So that's a really good deal if you can do that. If you have Protect the Weak on him and Abond out, then you potentially have 4 armor on him on a turn where you go fighting, which is 4 capture. That's pretty crazy. Shield of Justice gives you a bonus amber and says for the remainder of the turn, each friendly creature can't be dealt damage. Sir Marrows is a 4-power human knight with 2 armor, and it says after your opponent gains amber by reaping, Sir Marrows captures it. Very nice way to slow your opponent down there. Smite has you ready and fight with a friendly creature, and you deal 2 damage to the attacked creatures and neighbors. Very nice effect there. Free markets gains you 1 amber for each house represented among cards in play, except for Sanctum, to a maximum of 6. When you do this, when it says in play, that just means you count cards that are on the table, right? Not discards or anything like that, but any artifacts or creatures or upgrades that are on the table count toward that. Logos Ambassador is a 1-power human with elusive. After he fights or reaps, you may play or use a Logos card this turn. That is very nice. Yeah, good way to get some Logos stuff out on a Sanctum turn if he can stay alive. Potion of Invulnerability is an artifact with a bonus amber. It has Omni, sacrifice it, and for the remainder of the turn, each friendly creature can't be dealt damage. It's worth noting this and Shield of Justice are a little bit counter-synergistic with Marik, because they prevent the damage before the armor would. So just keep that in mind. You might choose to change the order you do things in based on that. Radiant Truth will give you a bonus amber and then stun each enemy creature that's not on a flank. Very nice if your opponent has a big board. And also very nice if your opponent has a big board. Opal Knight. It is a 5-power Spirit Knight that when played destroys each creature with even power. So this deck on SAS is marked a 78, which is pretty middle of the road, 3 stars. It has 54 arc, which is fairly high. Big scores in deck manipulation. It has good expected amber. You'll see lots of bonus amber printed on here. Less than Logos, although in Eureka's 3, so that's pretty good. Yeah, lots of amber printed here, and there are some synergies that amplify that a bit, and I think aren't super well accounted for, like the Hecatomb, the Not Finished With You. There are ways that we're getting extra value out of these cards, even if you think about the fact that Opal Knight will kill the Dust Imp for us. Like, we have things that work pretty well together. Where this deck struggles a bit more is in the Amber control category. It has some abilities to capture, right? It has Sir Meros, it has Marik, it has Abade, it has Pandemonium, and is that it? Pandemonium, and I think that's it. So what that means is you don't have a way in here to ever delete an opponent's amber. You can't steal and move it to your pool. You can't make the amber go away. So your only shot at amber control here is to control the board, get good captures in, and keep your creatures on the board. So that's a little bit on the risky side, but it does have fast amber generation. So as long as you are controlling that board, it has a pretty good shot at staying ahead. Yeah, and just I think interesting, good stuff here. Really good deck filtering with the Igor as well as the Yerks, and the extra draw with Fila, the archive with Hex Beyond, Researcher, things like that. So and Archimedes, just really good stuff that just makes the deck speed up a little bit. Yeah, and gives it a good shot. So I am also excited to play this one. Even though it did 3rd in the tournament, I really think all 4 decks were just pretty good. And this one has a lot to offer. So I'm excited to get out and play it. The next one that I will be showing you is a Mars Dese Logos deck, and it's the one that went 2nd. So hope you'll join me for that. And until then, get out and forge some keys. Thanks.